Hello everybody, this is Cheri at DJ Sundries, and who is ready to make some more tags? I know that I am, but I also know that it is getting closer to Christmas and I am running out of time, so I needed to make quite a few more tags, but I wanted to make them quickly. So tonight's video is a bit different. We actually are going to make 3 different tags, and I'm going to show you a 4th, but we're going to do them very, very quickly, but they're still going to be beautiful, they're going to be handmade, and they're going to be perfect for my packages. So this video is also a little bit different because this video is more about tips for being against a time crunch. And so we are going to start right in with those tips. So tip number 1 is shop your stash. No, I didn't say go shopping. I said shop your stash. You never know what you have that will help you with your goals. Now, maybe you're not making tags. Maybe you're making cards. But before you go out and find a bunch of stuff to help save you time, look and see what you have. So, for instance, I had these round blanks. I had a bunch of them. I had them in red. I had them red like this. I had them in green. I have no idea what the project was from, but it was something that I had in my stash, already cut out and ready to go. So I grabbed those and I decided that those would make cute tags. I had a lot of them and I thought, okay, they're done. I can do something simple with them. So I grabbed them and I set them aside. All I had to do was pull out my paper punch and just punch a hole in the top. And there I was shopping my stash. The second thing that I was doing was shopping my stash for ribbon or twine to put in the hole. Now I have quite a lot of ribbon and twine laying around. Remember back in the day when this type of twine was so popular? Well, I had quite a bit of it. And just because it's not something that we use all the time anymore, doesn't mean it's not something that I can use. I don't have to go buy it, and I have it ready for my tags already in place. So I shopped my stash. So that was the first thing, was looking around to see what tags did I already have cut out? What did I have that I could quickly punch a hole in and turn into a tag? Who knows, maybe you even have die cuts already that you could turn into a tag and it would be a shape tag. So many ideas that you may already have, and part of your job is already done and ready. So now we come to the second tip. And the second tip is it's okay to pre-purchase things. Now, if you're making a lot of tags, it may not be practical for you to order them or run to Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It may be just a little bit too costly to do that. However, if you're just making 20 or 30, it might be worth it. If you're making even 100, it may be, it may not be. That's just something that you have to look at. But sometimes the amount of time that you save in not making the tag bases can be so valuable. So for instance, I went on to Amazon and I purchased quite a lot of my tags. I am making a large number of tags. I want to have lots of them ready. And so with that, I needed to be able to make them quickly, and I did not have time to hand die cut those. Now, the faster way would have been to pull out the Cricut and use the Cricut, because you could do sheets at a time if you had the time to do that. I find that I'm using the Vagabond a lot more than I am the Cricut, and doing 1 or 2 tags at a time is just so time consuming. And because I needed so many, this was a good option for me. And they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and they're pretty inexpensive. Now, I can't speak to their archival qualities, but you can tend to get a lot of them. Here's some other ones that I picked up. So a lot of my tags from this season were pre-purchased. So the second tip is go ahead and purchase some of your tags if you feel like that will really help you. So now your third tip. we can make beautiful, elaborate tags. And I encourage you to do something. You use up some creative energy, you find things that are really helpful, but sometimes simple is better. So the third tip is choose simple images. So I have some examples here. I had this old stamp set from Close to My Heart. This is actually one that went along with one of the Cricut cartridges. I don't even remember, Art Philosophy, it says right on it. So I chose this image on for my current tag. Now, this one would also have fit. These are a little bit bigger than my tags, but if you had larger tags that you wanted to make, you could probably use these. This is another stamp set that I had. This one is from Simon Says Stamp. You can't really see that there. It's from Simon Says Stamp. Lots of snowflake type shapes. Here's a new one. This is a new Tim Holtz one. You can see which one I pulled off here. This is called Holiday Sketchbook. And then this is an oldie but a goodie. And one of my favorites are the blue print sketches. Now this is one of the mini strips that he did. It's quite an old set, but I wanted to use the ice skate on it. I just think that choosing quick and simple sketches make it very easy to quickly put together your tags, and you don't have to do a lot of fill work. You know, if you chose one like this, you would have a little bit more coloring. You could color on this one if you wanted to, but as you'll see, you don't need to if you don't want to, and you can still make beautiful tags. So that's the third tip. So the first tip, shop your stash. The second tip, purchase tags. The third tip is choose simple images. And then we get to the fourth tip, compartmentalize tasks. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that, and I've mentioned this in the other videos, is one of the first things that I did with my stamp. Oh, that one's got something on it. But one of the first things that I did with my tags was I went through and I stamped to and from on every single one of them. And I'm making a lot of tags this year. And I felt like that if I could just get that part done, then I could do the fun part all at once. And so I put them together in sets, knowing how many of each type of tag I wanted, counted them out to that number, and then I also went through and I stamped all my images on the back side. So those were compartmentalized tasks that I did to help set myself up for success. This, what we're going to do tonight is also a compartmentalized task where you can quickly go through, set things up, and then quickly stamp things through. So what do I mean by that? Well, I already have my stamp press already to go. Now you'll see I've got different images on here. And that's just because I made tags using all three of these images. I did not, I'm not planning to stamp the fourth one on camera, just these three, but I wanted you to see that once you get your image in place, then you can quickly go through and stamp a whole bunch if you choose to, all at the same time. So now we are ready to actually make our tag. So for the first tag, we are going to use this image right here, this nice red stocking. So one thing that you have to be careful of is these particular tags that I purchased from Amazon are actually very slick. And so this is definitely not something that you're going to want to do a pigmenting ink on or anything that stays wet for a long time. So for this tag and for all of the tags I'm making tonight, I actually chose archival ink. So I set that piece of paper aside. So I set my image on my stamp door, and I actually set where I wanted my tag to go. Now I know that for this one, I want to line my tag right at the 2-inch mark because that is where I set up for my stocking. So when I was quickly going through and stamping all of these, I knew that all I had to do was set my tag at 2 inches and I was good to go. So I chose Barn Red archival ink because that was the only archival in red that I had, and I knew that that was going to be my best option for stamping on this slick paper, was to use archival ink. You could use Memento ink, I think would be good. And there's lots of other good ones out there too, but archival is kind of my go-to for things that I don't want to slip. Now, I can see that I don't have that lined up right on the 2-inch mark, and thankfully I saw that. But the reason that doing this on a stamp press is so important is because you may not get a clean image the first time. And if you don't, you want to be able to either re-ink or just repress down, just like this. See, I have this part over here that I didn't catch. Now, I happen to know, because I have stamped others of these, that it's not that I didn't get the ink, that portion inked. It's that I didn't press appropriately on this large image on that side. I did quite a few of these, and I tended to have that problem on this side. So there we have our first one. So the other thing that I want to show you is when you're setting this aside, because it is slick paper, you don't want to stack anything on top of it. In fact, on the one that I showed before that had a little bit of red on the back, that's probably because it stacked too quickly and that archival ink even had not had time to dry. Now, that doesn't mean it takes all day to dry. It just means you need to be careful and set that aside where it can dry before anything smudges against it. So now I'm going to grab my stamp, my little Gina K. This is the first time I've used this little stamp cleaning rag from Gina K. And I am going to clean that off so I don't get my stamp press all dirty. And with archival ink, if you do like what I did here, and actually I'm going to pull this aside just so I don't do that with the red. But one thing that I found to clean off my stamp press, and I'll show this at the end, that works really well, is alcohol. The alcohol hand sanitizer works really well. So if you are making 5 of those, if you're making 100 of those, you can whip through those very, very quickly. So now I'm going to move to my second image, and that is this one right here. Now you can see that that's a rather tall image, but I wanted to do a little square tag like this. So what I did is I grabbed a piece of scratch paper and I set that near where I'm going to stamp. Then I don't have to be so precise about where I ink my stamp, or have to worry about cleaning my stamp pad from all of the extra ink that's going to build up. So using that, it was really helpful for me. I'm actually using Mermaid Lagoon for this particular image, and I'm still going to stamp up partway up the stamp, just like this. And this color is so pretty as a snowflake. I wish that I had a twine or a ribbon or something in a color that would match it. I don't, but the silver will still be pretty as well. So give that a good press and up, and there is our little tag. How quick was that? How quick and easy? Very fast. So that is our second tag already stamped. So as you can see, if you weren't listening to me talk, you could stamp through these very, very quickly. So now I'm going to flip my stamp over, or my platform lid, because now I'm moving to a rubber stamp. Now I happen to know for this last one that I also set this one up at the 2-inch mark. Now this one, it was really important that I set this up kind of at the 2-inch mark because it's kind of an odd shape. I needed to have some kind of landmark, so that's why I chose the 2-inch. I could have chosen 1-inch, but I could not set the tag all the way up against the edge here because it would not have been centered. So that's why I did it this way. So just some of the tips and tricks that you learn. If you've got an odd image that's an odd shape like this one is, you definitely don't want to set that all the way over to the edge. So this one I'm just using archival jet black ink. This is that Tim Holtz image from this year. Super fun. Now I just realized that my magnet was helping me, keeping me from closing the door all the way, but it's okay. I still ended up with a nice clean image. So there is that one. So now I have, in the space of just a couple of minutes of actually talking while I was doing it, I have actually done 3 tag stamps. So just some tips to go with that. Now I did promise you that I would show you about cleaning all of this mess up. I just take a little squirt of hand sanitizer and I just rub it over the image. You can also do it to clean up the door, which I will go back and do because I don't know about you, but I am frequently hitting the door with my stamp pad. It's not going to be pristine, and it's not going to get every single thing off, but it definitely helps make it a lot better. And I mean, after all, you can see that we use our tools, right? Because they've got ink on them. So set that aside. I'll finish cleaning that later, and you saw how quickly that cleaned up. And now we are just going to finish off the tag. So I have another one sitting here of each of those so that I don't have to worry about smudging them. I want to give them enough time to dry. And for this simple black and white image, it made sense to me to choose a black and white twine. Now I actually had some black and white ribbon that it was a buffalo plaid that I really had planned to use with this particular black and white image, and it would have been pretty, but when I was looking at having a whole set, I realized that I really just wanted all of them to be twine, or at least thinner than regular ribbon. So I just simply, for the twine ones, I just simply loop it through like that, and then I come up a little bit higher and tie a second knot. Which is, my fingers are not working tonight, but let's just take that out again and just tie a second knot. This just kind of gives it that double tie so it won't be coming loose and falling off. I did not do that with most of my tags through the series, but I thought for this it was fun to go ahead and do that. So again, I'm hopeful that because I'm using up my stash, I can start using the things that I have and getting through some of this stuff that's really old. I have so much red, I can assure you I will not use up all of the red this year, but that's okay too, because it's always nice to have. I know that I don't have to go back and purchase twine when, you know, the trend changes and we're back to doing twine again. So there is the second one. So 2 of them just like that. Now this third one I've already tied, and this one I used a double amount of this silver filament just because it's so thin that I wanted you to be able to see it. And then I took these blanks that I did so that you can see the roller skate. I did this one in red and white. I actually did it, this one's a little bit more subtle because that red is so dark, but with that black archival, you can still see it. And then I did them on green as well. So all in all, went through quickly and did a whole bunch of tags. So again, use these tips. Number 1, shopping your stash. Number 2, purchasing your tags. Number 3, choose simple images. And number 4, compartmentalize your tasks, and you can get a lot of tags done very quickly. Now, those are 4 quick tips, but I don't want you to forget the 5th tip, which is probably the most important tip of all, and that is relax and have fun. Your creative time should be a time of relaxing. For me, it's a time of getting out of the busyness of life and work and the stresses, and just kind of having some creative energy to focus on. And that is the best tip of the night. So thanks for so much for stopping by today. And remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great night. Bye.